Hello. It is Thursday. It is time for another episode of Weekly Wedding Prep Live. I'm so thrilled you could join us here. Hopefully your getting up to the holiday season is going well. Hopefully I guess it's one big hyphenated word. Getting up to the holiday season is going well. I'm definitely in the spirit because on Monday, my wife and I went to the city. Now, this is something I never thought I'd say, growing up in Ottawa, then moving to Korea, then living in Toronto. But here in a more rural environment where I moved to in 2018, we are on the ocean in fairly rural New Brunswick, kind of small town. Think like Bar Harbory, fishing boats and just beautiful. You go to the city every now and then. This is one thing I learn when we do it. So on Monday, it's an hour to St. John or an hour to Fredericton, the nearest proper metropolis of 70,000 people, take your pick, is an hour away. And if you want to do any civilized shopping, you got to go that route. And so we did that. We got some really great little small town shops here and stuff. But if you have no idea what you're going to get, and you need to browse, then you go to the city. Anyway, it was very successful. It got me in the Christmas spirit. Then it snowed. I think Ben was here first saying North Dakota, it's snowy, it's icy. You got the archaeological layers of everything that happened in the last few days. The fluffy stuff, the sticky stuff, the ice, then another layer. That's happening here too. It is snowy. It rained overnight. I will tell you, I'm glad temperatures are above freezing because I accidentally still had the summer windshield spray in the CRV, and when the temperatures got cold, that stuff just froze. And so it's never happened to me before, where I was driving around and I was waiting for a warmer day so that would thaw out. And so when it did, I just pulled on the little dispenser and emptied it out, put the -40 stuff in there, and we're good to go now. Anyway, that's what's happening in my life. Now you're all caught up. Sabrina is here. Hello, all you wonderful unborings. I'm going to count myself among those. So good to see you, Sabrina. Thanks, Ben, for being here and giving us your weather update. We got Terry here from snowy Ottawa. Of course it's snowy in Ottawa. It is freezing in Ottawa. Ottawa is my hometown. Spent the first 25 years of my life there. Went to Ottawa University. Beautiful city. There's no reason why anyone should not live in Ottawa except for the weather. I think it's claimed, one of its claim to fame is the second coldest capital on planet Earth. I think Moscow is number one and Ottawa is number two, which just when you look at the latitude, you're thinking why? But it is so freaking cold there in the winter. And when I moved out of Ottawa, I realized that winter doesn't have to be literally painful, literally cell-killingly cold. And so I love Ottawa, but that's why I don't live there. It's my hometown. Got a special place in my heart. Meanwhile, it's 60 degrees in San Antonio. Ben can keep all that slippery stuff right up there. Indeed, Electric City, one of those gray mornings that somehow makes everything feel calm and peaceful. Good morning, Unborings. It is morning out west, and I'm so glad you are here. Sharing is caring, Ben says. So he wants to send some of that weather down to San Antonio. Jane is here. Beautiful sunny skies. You're sick too, full of cold stuffy nose. Oh no, my son is home today with some of that too. And my wife had it this week. My daughter has a school social tonight, but she woke up this morning saying, if I feel like this tonight at 6 o'clock, I'm not going. So I guess it's going around. It's all the way in whether it's the Carolinas or up here in New Brunswick, 'tis the season. 82 and sunny today in SoCal, Thousand Oaks. Good to see you here, Cantor Mark. I'm sure you are transcribing this right now with some sort of AI. So good to see you here doing your thing. We need Christmas music for the intro. You know what? You're right. I'll see what Restream has available here. It's got to be royalty free. This was a pain that the other cut intros is I created the countdown on Canva. Here's a little behind the scenes for you. And whenever I would fire it up and come in with that intro, the one that I made on Canva, and afterwards YouTube would be processing it, YouTube always flagged it for copyright infringement. It was just like a 30-second lead in, but I always had to, before allowing it to go live on YouTube, I also had to cut the intro out. So Christmas music would be difficult unless it's public domain. Maybe you're thinking some older hymns or something like that, some 500-year-old Christmas dirge, and we'll see what we can do. But it's the tricky part is the royalty-free stuff, the copyright. Howdy, folks from sunny and warm Florida. Good to see you, Mike D. 46 degrees, and you did ask a question that I hope to get around to, particularly around when you're feeling the pressure around couples not answering your survey to them in a manner that you find timely. What's the best way to reach out? So I do want to share that with you. Absolutely. Jack Harp says in Michigan, we just got about 6.5 inches of snow. Wow, that is something in centimeters. We measure our snow in centimeters here. I'm thinking that's like 10 centimeters or so. I got to think of my ruler. It's a foot long ruler is about 30, so 650. Yeah, okay. Yeah, the conversion is always fun. Oh, Bar Harbor, flashbacks to my cousin in Maine during high school. Well, there you go. You got to get out here, Mark. You got to visit my neck of the woods, St. Andrews. It's beautiful. I live in St. Stephen. We can show you around. It's a gorgeous spot. That's why everybody comes here for weddings. That's literally why I live here, is because of how beautiful it is, how quiet it is. We were ready to get out of Toronto. It's not like butt-numbingly cold like in Ottawa. And that is why I live here. Sarah, good to see you in Vegas, I believe. And Sherry is here from Winnipeg. That's amazing. Winnipeg, for those of you who are uninitiated. And I was in Winnipeg in November a couple of decades ago and never forgot it because it was just unbelievably cold, like -20 in November. Season's greetings, Lisa, cold New Jersey. Let's see, got to get chains for your quick vacay to the mountains next weekend. Oh, cool. You're going to the mountains. That's amazing. Pacific Northwest, Nancy's here. It's raining. Hello from Massachusetts. And we got Ben and Sherry are making the connection that they're just a few hours away. There you go. Hello, Unboring fam. Dimples. And 28 degrees, just started to slightly snow in Massachusetts. Okay, maybe some of that's coming. Good to see you, Pamela Joy. Events by Pamela Joy. I love seeing unfamiliar handles. Sometimes I wonder if people are logging in on a second account that they're not aware of. Sometimes, though, I get a little excited when I see brand new people logging in. We are here every Thursday. And if you are new here, please, by all means, say hello. Let me know. Let us all know in the chat that it is your first time. This is open to wedding officiants, anyone in the wedding industry, essentially, but we are talking ceremony stuff. This is for officiants. We talk about prepping for a wedding coming up, or maybe a wedding you just had where something a little bit unexpected happened, or it was a total win. You did something that you absolutely knew was amazing. Your couple raved about it. This is a place to share wins and challenges, especially if it's your first time. Please say hello. There's so many members of Unboring Wedding here, and if you're wondering how to become a member, everybody who is a member has purchased Unboring Wedding Academy, the course, and so you can visit unboringweddingacademy.com. And that's more than just a course. That is a whole ecosystem of amazing members. We do have live office hours every month. And to me, you're one of the most, you become a member of one of the most prestigious and elite officiants on the planet, celebrants all over, because we have this style and system and process that we know blows people away, guarantees the guests and couples will say, that is the best ceremony I've ever seen. And so everyone here is just absolutely amazing. So say hello and feel free to join. Mitt's here. Greetings from San Francisco. Mitt, I keep saying your wedding is coming right up. It's coming. Mitt's a member, and I know last week I said it's this weekend. Maybe today it's this week. I think I can confidently say it's this weekend. I've been rooting for you for a long time, Mitt. You purchased the course a while ago. You've been putting in the work. You asked a great question this week. I want to highlight something around engaging the guests, and I've appreciated being on this journey with you. Question maybe, Mark, do you keep on moving your bobblehead, or am I just imagining things? That's the first question of the day. Ben is seeing this move. I don't know. I don't move it. I'm not. I wish there was a way to move it. Again, this is a gift from Jane, who gave this to me at Wedding MBA in Vegas, and I'm really distracted right now because I'm looking out my window, guys, and friends. I told my wife, who works from home, she's a public servant for the province, that if Purolator pulls up, do not look at the box, because the box will have labels on it that will make her know what her Christmas present is. And sure enough, I've been waiting for this thing all day, and I can just see out the window up the driveway right now. There he is. Here comes the Purolator man, probably going to make her sign for it. And what it is going to be right on the side of the box. So Merry Christmas to all, and to all a ruined Christmas for my wife, because now she's got to accept this package. I don't know. I told her, don't look at the box. We'll see if she can somehow sign for it without without looking at it. It's Murphy's Law, isn't it? Here we are, law, just like grab it. But I'm not. We're doing it. We're Chucky bobblehead. Hey, if it, I don't know if Ben's imagining it or if it's happening. Keep an eye on this thing. Who knows what Jane did to this thing over my shoulder here? Now I want to keep an eye on it. I can't confidently say it's not moving. I don't think it is. Greetings from the west side of Tennessee. It has been mostly gloomy here with about 20% chance of sun. Oh, 20% chance of sun coming out. Oh, Mitt just lost the audio. No audio. I'm seeing Randy say no audio as well. This is very strange. I am hardwired in here. Let me just confirm. Oh, and let me just make sure that is. If to those of you who think I just left for the package, no, I didn't. I've just resigned to our fate. Let's see if that is a little bit better. Tamara is here. Oh, see, Tamara. I'm seeing. Oh, this is interesting. Allow Google Chrome to find devices. Okay. Scott says he hears the audio. The audio is going in and out. Okay. I'm sorry to hear that. Sometimes I wonder if it's weather related here. It's been soggy. It's been rainy. And Pamela says, I keep losing it too, but I seem to have to close out and get back in. Some can hear, some can't. Hopefully it gets a little bit better. I just kind of jiggled my my cable here. There you go. You should see the behind the scenes of what's going on. I am plugged in. I don't like leaving this to Wi-Fi. Yeah, the other week, I know, Ben, I saw this. I uploaded it. I don't know if in the settings I clicked mirror the camera. I'm actually just opening my settings here. And I brought it up and was so surprised because everything was on the other side. Yeah. And to those of you who think I just really went out of my way that week as an April Fool's joke to move everything, no, I did not. Good to see you, Koa, and Tamara. Tamara's here. I think I understand, Tamara, that you are Dimples. I try to remember that the best that I can. New here, first time. Randy, absolutely love that. Welcome to you. You win 100 points in the meaningless point contest. Please let us know if you have a question, if you're working on a wedding coming up, if you're wondering what, it can be very granular. It can be, you can paste in some of your script. We are here together to basically work on your script. I do have some things that I want to present to you today. As I said, I get some questions, sometimes specifically for the show, just sometimes from members. I want to talk first about a question I got around the hand fasting. And I don't want to turn this into an entire hand fasting episode. Although, you know, when somebody emails me and says, I need some help with a hand fasting, I mean, that's a mini course in itself. And I'm not saying, oh, I'm not willing to answer that. But you have to be so specific around what your couple wants, because a hand fasting can be done in a lot of ways. So I want to talk to you about the two ultimately most important things you need to consider when you are doing a hand fasting. And I would say when your couple says to you, we would like a hand fasting, there are two things to consider, and it really needs to come from them. I know I sound like a broken record a lot, but that is the mark of an amazing officiant, is to be able to listen to the couple, get their feedback in terms of exactly what they want, essentially their marching orders, their vision, what exactly they want. Because and this is why, even with something as simple as a processional, in you've seen inside Officiantly, like I asked the question, is anybody coming down the aisle in that wedding workshop? We don't want to make any assumptions at all when we're wedding officiants, because then it's really embarrassing. We get egg on our face when we say, oh, I just assumed blah, blah. And if that's true of kind of your classic 10-part ceremony, how are you saying your vows? Who would you like to hold the rings? A lot of officiants assume, it'll be the best man, or, what really sets my hair on fire is sometimes officiants say, I will have the rings. And I just say, the officiant never, ever needs to hold the ring for any reason at all. Not just for liability issues. Yes, there are things on the internet that I have seen where the officiant dropped a ring in the pond. And then, so if you're a professional, maybe not a family member, but if you're a professional, the couple comes after you to cover the replacement costs. This was a real story. It's something that was going through the courts. So A, you don't want to touch the rings for liability purposes. B, you are standing there with your binder or your script. You're going to be saying the words. There are at least a couple of witnesses, maybe 200 people. You can involve someone else in the ring exchange. So that's the kind of thing where you have some expertise. Your couple might assume something, or maybe you do something the way it's always been done. But that stands for, obviously, the traditional classic elements that are essential in almost every ceremony. But then you start throwing in other things, unity rituals, things like that. And if they say, we want a blank sand mixing, and you just say, okay, and then you go off and do it, well, there's so many variables. Maybe they wanted to involve somebody else in the sand mixing. Sometimes there's multiple colors that they want, because a couple often will want something like that displayed on a mantle in their house. Oh yeah, we mixed that sand in our ceremony on the wedding day. And so colors will mean something to them, and you can talk about that during the ritual. So this is why sitting down and having a wedding workshop with your couple is absolutely so crucial. And that is true of the hand fasting as well. If your couple says, we want a hand fasting ceremony, do you do hand fasting ceremonies? Yeah, of course. Of course, you're going to say, yeah, I do hand fasting ceremonies, but I don't know anybody who says, and when I do a hand fasting, it's always this way. The hand fasting ritual is ancient. It's essentially the oldest unity ritual. It's where the expression tie the knot comes from. It's traced back to Celtic roots. And so, there's sometimes cultural debate around who owns that. But because of that, as I said, you need to talk to your couple about two major considerations when it comes to hand fasting. And I'd really love to hear in the chat anyone who has done a hand fasting. Were there any curveballs, anything that you didn't think through or didn't expect? I'd love to hear that. And what did you do to correct that, or to accommodate your couple? Maybe your couple asked you for something specific. There is essentially no one way, like I said, to do a hand fasting. So I want to talk to you about the two things that are crucial to talk about. Let's see. I'm getting past the audio comments here. Audio is perfect. Audio is in and out. Audio. I'm sure you're seeing the chat, and I'm trying to help out here. Mitt says, did you get to review or check out the chrono strap info I sent you? I mean, I saw the picture. I think I mentioned it here, Mitt. That is really, really cool. I have the link if I consider this is great for officiants, gifting officiants. I talked about it, I think, last week, the strap. I love seeing that in action on your binder, and I think it's a really, really great thing. So I did get that email. Go get the gift of audio. Some people say I still can't hear. You may have to start doing closed captions. Well, I don't think closed captions can happen for a live show. And so some people are saying it's me. Some people are saying it's not me. The captioning happens after the video is uploaded, and then there are captions. But I don't think we have the technology yet for live captioning, although that would be really, really great. Yeah, Ben says mirrored image. I see last week's video that Unboring is backwards. It's a little switch that must have been hit or something like that. Audio's out again. Randy has a question. Some people are having problems on their devices. I'm not sure what to do with that. So, Randy, please fire away with your question, and hopefully we can get this sound thing sorted out. I will answer, and A, you can watch the replay, and B, there will be captions on the replay. YouTube does that automatically after about, in my experience, an hour or two. It's fully transcribed and the CC comes up. No problems here. Some are having problems, some are not having problems. I hope we don't get too bogged down in this. I hope it's not affecting too many people. The two things that you need to consider for a hand fasting, and again, please jump in the chat if you have expectations, if you have questions around expectations around hand fasting. I'd love to hear it. I'm just a bit distracted by this. Jerry says, Nancy, haven't seen you here for a while. How'd your wedding go at the Capitol? Yeah, the Capitol building. We were all wondering. You had a wedding ceremony at the state Capitol, and there has been some discussion around how did that go? How did that go? So feel free to drop that in the chat. It's okay that we have parallel discussions in the chat as well. Hand fasting, the first thing you need to ask your couple, because when they say we want a hand fasting, they have one thing in their mind, you might have another. We've got to come in the middle. We got to come to an agreement. When you are doing a hand fasting, it can be a ribbon, like the physical object. That's the thing you need to think about first. What is the physical object that you are actually tying? So it can be a ribbon or a cord or a rope. Now, a cord or a rope are similar things, but a cord is often braided, and sometimes there are multiple. It's braided, and there's multiple strands that you want to tie, and there's tutorials on this online. It's a whole thing in itself. I think American Marriage Ministries, my friends there, they often act out a hand fasting at their Officiant Accelerator events. So shout out to them. That's how complex it is when you get people in person. You can do this. So I want to talk you through a couple of basic principles around it, but obviously there's no substitute for actually practicing. So if you got a couple of family members or friends and you have a hand fasting come up, you might want to actually practice doing it. I know I did that for my first couple. I was pretty nervous, especially if your couple has very specific requests around the tying of the knot, or the ribbon or the cord or the rope, and they want it to look a certain way, especially maybe intertwining certain colors. They want it to go over their hands a certain way. Some of my couples have been super casual in terms of it's just a cloth ribbon, and I just tie it in a regular bow around their hands, so just once around, and tie it. And so it looks like kind of a gift wrap knot on top, if you can imagine that. And then they easily take their hands out and we move it, and we're off doing the rest of the ceremony. So that is a segue into the second thing you need to consider. And it's the more complicated one, which is talk to your couple around what do they think is going to happen. What do they want to happen? That's a better way to say it. What do you think is going to happen? What do they want to happen when their hands are actually tied? When you accomplish the hand fasting, do they want to then quickly take that off and move on with other elements in the ceremony? Or do they want to do something or many things, including maybe the rest of the ceremony, insofar as it's possible, with their hands tied? So that is the second important thing to discuss with your couple. And then that will lead into a third, and I'm going to unpack these a little bit. So I'm not just racing ahead here, but like I said, I don't want this to turn into a whole 1 hour summit on just hand fasting. But these are all things. If you have a hand fasting coming up with a couple, or you have a workshop coming up with your couple and they hit you with hand fasting, remember what we've talked about here today. What am I tying? What do you want to do while your hands are tied? And then coming out of that, that will determine kind of where you decide to slot that in. Now, as the officiant, you have some choices around what you're going to do in terms of the elements themselves and how you tie their hands. Let me tell you what I mean by that. If, for example, it's a very casual hand fasting in the sense of, you know, a lot of them that I've done, the couple just likes the tradition of it. They're not too particular around specifics about the hand fasting. They'll just say, no, it's just a ribbon. Just kind of drape it over our hands loosely, tie a knot, and then we'll slip out of it and we'll move on with the other elements. Okay, that's fine. But what if your couple says, we would like to say some repeat after me vows, mend, write and read their own vows to each other with their hands tied, because, and this is where you get into logistical stuff, when somebody's hands are physically tied, if it's a larger wedding guest count, I always believe in giving the couple their paper and their microphone. I really, really am uncomfortable when I see officiants holding the microphone. This is just my remote control, but holding the microphone to the couple's face while they're saying their vows. For one, it's very intrusive to hold something to somebody's mouth. And two, I don't think you should be around as the officiant when they're reading their vows. I always take 2 giant steps out of the picture. This is a public moment, but it's also an intimate moment, and you don't need to be the third person there interloping in that moment. So this is where I would say to them, let's go with repeat after me vows for the hand fasting if your hands are tied. If they want to write and read their own vows to each other, and like I said, this is where you got to start thinking about where things go with a hand fasting. You might want to say, can you read your own vows to each other, and then we will do the hand fasting after you've done that. And I just think this is where, like any ritual, any unity ritual, I believe, goes best after reading the vows, after they say their vows, because then really it's a concrete physical symbol. And that's what I usually say. This is a concrete sign and symbol in the real world with a physical object that signifies and represents the promises they've just made, whether it's the sand or whether it's 2 candles becoming one or whether it's hand fasting. They've made the promise and now you're doing the thing. So that just kind of logically makes sense. But especially for a hand fasting, I don't know that you'd want to tie the hands. You could explain the ritual, tie it, and then get them to repeat some vows while their hands are tied. That totally makes sense. But in this case, if they wanted kind of both, then I would recommend, and some couples have said, we just want to write and read our own vows, and we want you to do the hand tying. We don't want to say anything while our hands are tied. We'll just take out the ribbon and then move it and then put on the wedding rings. And this is the other complicating factor, which is if they're not going to take off the cord, the ribbon, whatever they're tied up in, it's pretty hard to do a ring exchange, right? They need both hands to put the rings on. But then, of course, if their hands are all bound up together, you can't really do a ring exchange. Now, with a cord, you could get creative and do it, but I still think it would be logistically complicated enough that it might be almost a distraction. That's why a lot of couples, for me, my couples, like to do the hand fasting and then slip out of it and move that cord or ribbon off to the side, maybe give it to one of the attendants and they can hold it, and then they move on with the ring exchange. That said, there is a scenario here where, like I said, they write and read their own vows. They read their own vows to each other. Then they put the wedding rings on. Then this is kind of the best flow to me if they want to say some vows while their hands are tied. Read their own vows, exchange wedding rings, so those are on. Then do the hand fasting now that the rings are on. And then when their hands are tied, ask them to repeat a few words. And then moving out of that, typically you could pronounce them right then and there. They could do their first married kiss still with their hands tied. And this is a Canadian thing, right? That I just sing its praises all the time. We sign right there in the ceremony. This is what I teach in Unboring Wedding and kind of standard for weddings here in Canada. they could walk to the signing table with their hands still tied if you tie the correct hands. Now you got to think about this for a second. If two people are going for a walk on the beach, which hands need to be tied? Well, right, it's definitely not the same hands. You can't have they might be tied. You want them to be able to have their hands tied walking in the same direction, right? If they're walking to the table, or maybe even if there's not a signing table or a signing ritual in the ceremony, what if they want to keep their hands tied all the way out after you present them for the first time? Well, it can still work. The only thing you need to remember is very often in hand fasting, when it's typically done, it's the hands that are farthest from you that get tied, that are on the side of the guests, right? And this really gets confusing. So as the officiant, if it's the person here, and the second I say it, maybe there's mirroring and it's opposite. So if you're like an officiant in one of these photos, no, that's opposite. See what I'm saying? Left and right gets confusing, but you have the person here. It would be, for me, their right hand, and the person on this side would be their left hand. So they extend their hands and you fasten those hands together. The problem here then is that if you do it that way, they cannot turn out and face the guests. Sometimes I wonder if this is from the tradition where, like, that more like 500 years ago, 1,000 years ago in religious settings, the couple, when they were married, they were actually facing the clergy person. In Western style weddings, in the Christian tradition, I can't speak much to other Jewish traditions or Muslim traditions or Buddhist traditions or all the other amazing, wonderful wedding traditions out there. But when you're talking kind of a Western style wedding, the couple faced the altar where the clergy person was, and so of course those hands, the middle hands, were the ones that would be tied. So now I always recommend, of course, in a more contemporary ceremony, the couple faces each other, which is why kind of it's those hands are still the ones that are traditionally tied, the ones closer to the guests, because altar or the front or each other, it's still those outer hands. But I'd say for a more contemporary setting now, where you want the couple to turn and face the guests, or even go for a walk to a signing table and come back, they need the other hands tied. They need the ones that are closest to you tied, so that, and when you just think of the logistics, they could turn side by side, even raise their hands together, do a kiss, walk to the signing table, come back, and they never need to take off that ribbon or cord. You could really tie that sucker tight and triple sailor knot it. Again, look it up on the internet, use ChatGPT. There's there's videos, there's all kinds of instructionals on specific hand fasting knots, cords, braids. Some are more common than others. But we're just talking about kind of body logistics here today, and things you need to talk through with your couple. It is a matter of, what do they expect when they say hand fasting? What do you expect when you say hand fasting? So much of that wedding workshop is not making any assumptions and asking your couple the questions that need to be asked. Now, in Officiantly, the software we've designed for wedding officiants that we use in Unboring Wedding, and you can purchase your own annual subscription at officiant.ly, we ask all the questions that need to be asked. But of course, there's a space on there that says, do you want any unity? If you select the drop down that says yes, then there's a field there where you can write the specific, well, that will appear in the script. But all those kind of stage directions and logistics, as I said, there's too many options for a hand fasting. And when it came time to designing the software, we thought, we can't peg or pigeonhole what a hand fasting looks like. There's just way too many options out there in terms of what has been done, what could be done, what do they want to do during when their hands are tied? Do they want to move into elements after? Do they want to take the ribbon or cord off? Do they want to leave the ceremony with their hands still tied? These are all things to talk through with your couple. Only they know what's in their head. And so you've got to get that out so you can realize their vision as their wedding officiant. That's ultimately, we are always accommodating our couple's vision. Okay, I think that's that's my my little rant about hand fasting. As I said, think first about what the physical object is. Is it a cord, a ribbon? braided? How do they want the knot actually tied? Okay, so deal with the physical object item being tied, talk to them about that. Of course, they always need to provide their own, right? Then the second thing, as I said, is when it's tied, what do they want to do? Do they envision saying things, doing things with their hands tied? Then, third, you decide as the officiant where it goes best. You know what's going to come in the rest of the ceremony, but basically, you got to decide, can you do X and Y and Z with your hands tied? Or do we need to get you out of there, discreetly give that to an attendant, and then move on? For example, if they want to do the wedding rings and move right into the kiss and the pronouncement, maybe they want the hands tied during that, maybe they don't. That's up to you to discuss and figure out with them. I'm going to go back here. Randy says, "Are we still live? I can't tell." Oh my gosh, Randy! I hope things get ironed out for you, and I hope I really didn't say all that, that for nothing. I had a hand fasting. The couple wanted to include their 3 children's hands in the fasting. Absolutely accommodated. Got cozy up there, but it was so sweet. I love that, Laura. Thanks for jumping in and sharing that. That's an example of, you talk to your couple. They say, we want to involve our kids. I can imagine tying up those 3 hands. I get kind of like emotional even thinking of that, because I love when there's kids or blended family. When you have a moment like that, they're so powerful. Humans have been doing them for thousands of years, right? And sometimes we jettison that kind of stuff because, I don't know, we're not religious anymore, or that kind of thing. But, and I think of like the tradition of walking the labyrinth or lighting candles, or, whether you're religious or not, this is physical expressions of ideas, of beliefs, and I just think wedding ceremonies sometimes are the last bastion of these really amazing and powerful rituals that put things into literal practice. I say this as someone who's been to seminary for a few years, and I just think a lot of these things, whatever your faith expression or tradition is, it is so powerful to dress and move and engage with objects in a way that makes ideas so physical. So that's really great. Koa, I know you're no stranger to this kind of thing. Speaking of rituals and tradition, it's amazing. So Pili, I'm not going to say that. Pili Anaike is included in all of my ceremonies, and included my main pule prayer spoken in Hawaiian. I make a tea mail lay cord to do the fasting. That's amazing. Again, Koa, you blessed me with a lay at Wedding MBA. It's proudly hung on my wall here, right next to the mural of the COVID class of 2020. My little cubby here. It's so much more than this wall. Just things that keep me going from the community, from someone like you, and I really appreciate that. You bring a lot of wisdom to the wedding ceremony with a tradition like this, and thank you for sharing that. Okay, we're back to the Capitol wedding here. Brief interlude and went great. The crowd was a lot of fun. The couple had a great ceremony. There was a lot of applause. That I love that. So congratulations. You felt a bit trepidatious. We were trepidatious for you, but as always, I think we had a lot of faith that when people see people getting married, that's exactly what happens. It's amazing. I was watching, what was that? Oh, I was watching The Office or something with my daughter. She's 13 the other day. And spoiler alert, okay, somebody proposes to somebody. And my daughter said, oh my gosh, if I was around that happening, I would feel so awkward. And I said, no, you clearly just haven't been. If you were in a public setting and somebody was very publicly proposing and that person said yes, you know the stories, right, fellow wedding officiants? Everybody claps and cheers when the other person says yes, and suddenly it's like it's something that just unifies anybody in the vicinity. So I just absolutely love that. That's great. And let's see, how do you tie it while holding the binder? That's a really great question. A lot of the time I will never be holding my binder. So you could do the old close and tuck it under the arm, but honestly, if there's a wedding attendant there, this is something in the rehearsal, when you say it's going to be time to tie the knot here, you could actually practice it in the rehearsal, or you could just pantomime it like we do at the rings. We often don't have physical rings, but we pretend to put them on because muscle memory is really important. This is a great question. So I will often take my binder and give it to the best man, say, or the attendant of honor, whoever's there. And then tie it. Now, a lot of times I will say some words. I'll explain the ritual of hand fasting. So I'll take the cord, or maybe somebody else lays it over their hands. So they're holding hands, you lay it on. And then as you lay it on, then you say some words, then you can wrap it over, right? So you can say some words and wind it over their hands, say some words, wind the other side over. And then when it comes time to actually physically tie the knot, you're kind of done reading essentially. What I tell them to is, as I tie the knot, be mindful of how your lives are coming together. I kind of give people something to do in the brief 10 seconds of silence. We are not scared of silence in a wedding ceremony. We laughed, we cried, we tell the love story. But silence, just like any sort of ritual, is extremely powerful when it is used sparingly. And so we're not going to have lots of awkward silence, dead air in a ceremony. But when you are doing something and there is silence, it's powerful. So my last words, the couple, typically, as I say, as I tie this knot now, think about how your lives, be mindful of, and I just take that moment of mindfulness, give my binder over, tie the knot, then take the binder back. So that was a great question too. These are all, like I said, the hand fasting is often one of the most logistically detailed things that we just need to think through. Don't leave it all to chance. But again, there's many ways to do it. Here, Koa says, I do remove it from their hands after the prayer, but some other traditions want to require the hands to stay bound. Exactly. And to Koa's point, which tradition are they wanting to observe here? Maybe they've seen it one way, or their family's always done it another way. And that is what I love about this kind of thing. And that is the mark of your vision. We will make it happen, just like, yeah, 3 children being involved in a hand fasting. It's an absolutely beautiful thing. The tying of the knot, Scott says, appropriately was the most challenging. I committed to memory the part when their hands came apart and then placed the cord back, picked up the binder, and continued. That's essentially what I just said. So Scott, you're a pro. It's amazing. Literally, you're a pro. I don't think it's we never need to be overly paranoid or worried about getting it right or doing it wrong. As long as we're doing it with poise and with a sense of, we know where we've thought it through, right? And so sometimes things can get complicated up there. You can create a moment of levity sometimes, like, when rings aren't going on, sometimes somebody makes a joke about, like, well, I guess it doesn't fit, or do anybody have some bacon grease, or, I don't make those comments, but sometimes I just say that line, just like we practiced, or like, that kind of thing. We talk about it in the rehearsal. I say, put the rings on, then I'm going to ask you to repeat, because the ring might not go on. Well, when that happens, put the ring fully on, and then only when it's on, I'm going to ask you to repeat. And then sure enough, it happens. I will say, just like we discussed, something like that, and they'll laugh. So, you don't ever need to be scandalized by something not going smoothly, or whatever that even means. When you're doing something in a wedding ceremony, things happen. So I had a couple weave their own rope with their favorite colors. Absolutely, Paul. Thanks for being here and commenting. That happens a lot. I show them how to pull it, and they literally tie the knot. Yes, there is that thing too, where they pull the. Oh, I'm getting so excited. I'm whacking equipment here. There is a hand fasting style where they pull it with their hands. Yes, absolutely. So look that up, or reach out to Jane. Oh, we got some buffering happening. I'm not sure what's happening. I don't know if maybe all the rain we got, maybe it's leaking on the cords or something. Who knows? I'm sorry that it's glitchy today. That's what happens when you go live. It can't be perfect. Just like a wedding ceremony, right? I have a quick, simple technique with a simple cord, and it looks pretty too for keeping later. Got to see it though. Typing how to do it would be confusing. Okay, you got to see it. Yeah. And that's why I said, like, there's videos, there's, like, as I said, AMM does it in person. You could ask ChatGPT to really break it down and see, but I'm sure there's websites about it. Like I say, it is, I tend to, I write blogs and things that are very text-based. And it's not impossible, but you would just need to kind of go step by step. You almost need an IKEA manual for hand fasting. Good to see you. Client wanted music instead of this awesome live stream. Okay, so you're working with a client. Amazing. Ava says, I love hand fastings. Me too. They're fantastic. And Nancy says, I offer the solution of licking the finger. That's what my husband did at our ceremony. The solution of licking the finger. Is that, I missed the context for that. The solution of licking the finger. I don't even I don't even know what that means. What that is, what's that? That's a euphemism for something. literally licking the finger. I'm trying to figure out where that would go into hand fasting. Nancy, do elaborate if you can. Okay, this did turn into quite the hand fasting thing, but we are not done yet. Type in a question if you've got one. I did want to talk about Scott. I don't want to put you on the spot or out you, Scott, but Scott did say sometimes his couples are a little bit tardier than he would like in terms of getting their questionnaire answered. Here at Unboring Wedding, in this style and system, we ask our couple just a few questions. We give them a heads up. Officiantly, the software we use, just one click, we'll fire that out to them. I like to do this about 6 weeks, 4 weeks before the wedding ceremony. Because that's when we do the wedding workshop. And so coming out of the wedding workshop, send them their script with a click, send them the questionnaire with a click. But sometimes they don't get back to you. And Scott's question specifically was, what's the kind of diplomatic boilerplate kind of prodding, poking that you give your couple to basically say, hello, I really need you to get. Some of you have resorted to putting this in your contract, maybe not in a draconian way, but saying basically you commit to, as the client, you commit to the wedding workshop and you commit to answering a short questionnaire that I will provide. And you can even put the questions in the questionnaire. There's no harm in your contract, your agreement with your couple, your legal agreement. Anytime you change money with a couple, there needs to be a contract. There needs to be a legal agreement. You have to cover yourself that way. We've talked about this on other lives, videos on this on my channel, etc. A blog article about it. One time we even did a live build a contract with ChatGPT. So it's very doable, but you can put that in your contract if you'd like, and you could invoke that. Now, I wouldn't invoke that until the couple is really, really like just not doing their homework. Here's the important reason. Here's why that's important. Here's why it's so important for them to do the homework. That is because presumably the couple is paying you more than other wedding officiants, or they did not ask, somebody else, because they know you are going to tell their love story. You are going to deliver an exceptional experience, the kind that last week we talked about here, that couples are paying top dollar for. You can be a friend or relative. I'm not saying you have to be a professional here, but I am saying no matter what kind of officiant you are, your couple asked you because you said, I can deliver this incredible experience. Well, if they do not do that homework, the only kind of ceremony you can deliver is fairly generic, right? What makes an unboring wedding so incredible is two things: your kind of MC, personal guest engagement presence, opening remarks, times through the ceremony where you address the guests and get some shout backs. And I teach these moments exactly when they are and how to execute them in Unboring Wedding Academy. But then there's also the love story, the speech. Your speech is all about the couple. It's bespoke. It is personal to them, personalized to them. No two couples will ever look alike in that regard. But of course, if your couple does not get around to answering the questionnaire, you cannot write that ceremony for them. So this is the answer to Scott's question. And anybody who says, like, how do I diplomatically say, yo, please answer the questionnaire I sent you? Like I said, I wouldn't go with the whole, hey, you signed a contract thing yet. The thing that I would send them is reminding them that, and so the email body would essentially look like this. Hey, Sam and Alex, I just went in to check on the answers for your questionnaire. I noticed you have not gotten around to doing them yet. I can't wait to get started writing your love story. I know that you want me to deliver an absolutely personal, incredible wedding ceremony all about you And so, in order for me to do that, in order for me to craft this ceremony that you are expecting from me and that I can't wait to deliver for you, I cannot do it without that information from you. Just those few questions, please. If you can find some time, take some time to do that. I'm ready to write your story. I need this information because, and this is where you're emphasizing to them, without this information, I cannot deliver the experience that I know we all want for your special day. Okay, so always keep it positive. Keep it about what they are, not in a negative way, but what they're missing out on if they don't get around to answering the questions. Now, sometimes one marrier, one half of the couple will answer and the other won't. And so a lot of the time I will say, I'll send to that one other person. With Officiantly, we made it so that you can just send to, a person who hasn't answered their questionnaire yet. And so you could say, hey, Sam, Alex wrote an incredible account of how you got together and what she loves about you. But in order for this to be everything it can be, as we discussed, and you hopefully will have discussed this with them in your wedding workshop, you briefly mentioned it, but especially in your vibe check or your chem check, your sales pitch to the couple before they hired you, you say to them, the magic comes both of you doing your homework, giving me your sides of the story to those 3 magical questions and what you love about each other. That's where so much of the beauty and the joy and the magic is. And then you remind them of that. You say like, hey, Sam answered her questions amazingly. And now I really, really am looking forward to getting your side of the story. So it'll be completely rounded out and it can be everything it can be. So really emphasize how amazing their ceremony will be, and when they do the work, and the kind of crafting that you can do, and kind of the read between the lines here is, of course, if you don't do it, I can't do it. I try to stay away from negatives unless it's kind of like a second and final. If they still don't get around to it, and I know Scott was kind of sweating bullets, but I do think they came through based on another email you sent me. If it's like the week of the wedding now, I always write the love story the week of the wedding. So like Monday, if it's a Saturday wedding, Monday I'll go in and start writing. But if for some reason, again, Officiantly sends you a notification that the answers came in. So I absolutely love that. You shouldn't be surprised. But if for some reason Monday I went to get the answers and only one was there or neither were there, then I would, and I already sent them a heads up, I would basically then say, hey, just letting you know, without any answers, there's still time, but without any answers, if it gets to later this week and you haven't got your answers in, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to deliver the best wedding experience we could do. I will, craft a ceremony as best I can. But I still really am hoping that we can make sure your ceremony is everything it can be. So really leaning into that language about your ceremony can be the best it can be, as we discussed, everything I want it to be, I want it to be everything you hope it to be, right? It's their wedding. And we always say that it's their wedding in terms of what they want. It's also their wedding in terms of what they don't want. And if that means not getting around to answering your questionnaire, that's ultimately on them as well. I've had some officiants reach out to me, very rarely, thankfully. Like for me, if you're paying me $1,000 for the Unboring wedding experience, you are massively incentivized to get that homework done. This is also an irony, right? Of if you charge $200 a wedding and the couple doesn't get around to it, they're like, no great loss. That's where if you make your marketing and your promoting and your brand even around like, I am capable of delivering an absolutely incredible experience for you. Here's how much it costs. Yes, I do need a little bit of effort from you. Couples who are paying that and who are wanting that are typically going to do what it takes to achieve that, right? And so, give that really friendly first poke, kind of what I just told you about emphasizing, I want your ceremony to be everything you hope. I want it to be the best it can be. In order for me to do that, in order for me to craft the best, this is what I need from you. And then second, that's where I'd say the second email, kind of the emergency email, is when you kind of take the negative tack, and what I mean by negative is, look, I can't do it if I don't have it, right? That's where you're turning into like the negation of it. So hopefully that was a little bit helpful. Eva says, it's funny, I spent most of the day yesterday studying different ways to tie the knot, practicing new ones. That's amazing. If you can spend most of the day practicing, that shows you how much knot tying variations there are. Lick the finger. Okay. I was wondering how lick the finger fit into hand fasting. But yes, okay, for the ring not going on. This is sometimes where the chat is not synchronous with what I'm saying, or I come back after. Right, I forget what I was talking about. Hey, it's your birthday and you love being here learning. Happy birthday, Ava. Love that you're joining us on your birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Ava. Happy birthday to you. Scott, hopefully that was helpful. And Sabrina says, happy birthday. Look, I had a few other things to talk about, but I don't want to do them injustice. You know what, though? I think I will take the last few minutes, if there are no questions here, to talk about. This is the last call. Last call for questions in the chat. I want to talk about those two words that I said. Actually, two words that I said should not have, don't have any place in the wedding ceremony. Okay, and that is he remembered, she remembers, I remember, we remember. And the word remember. So essentially, the word remember is the one that you want to strike from the record in the wedding speech. Okay, so I just was on the phone with someone this morning in a coaching call. They asked me to read the script. I do see this a lot, where when somebody is writing a love story, they will say, for example, Sam remembers when, and then says the thing. Alex remembers that date night when blah, blah. If you're a friend or relative who's officiating and you have history with the couple, maybe you were there when the couple were getting together, you would say, I remember that night when Sam came home from the date with Alex. She was on cloud 9. So here's the important thing. I remember. The word remember breaks, it kind of shatters the illusion that you are creating of telling the story. There's a couple of magical things about the love storytelling that most people don't even know what's happening. First, you're talking to the guests about the couple, right? That's the first thing. You're not talking to the couple. You're actually telling the story to the guest about the couple in front of you. So the story is in third person. And so the present tense is really important. And the other thing is you are talking about it like it's happening now in present tense. So you're using present tense. So I remember messes that up in a couple ways. First, you're not speaking authoritatively as a narrator. You're like ripping us out. You're reminding us that it was a research project or that you asked your couple questions. It's not as powerful as it could be. That's the first thing. And the second thing is it's pulling us out of the narrative in the sense of you are not being an authoritative narrator. It's about reminiscing, and you're throwing yourself in the story. I remember, we remember, or he, she remembers. It's kind of like pivoting the camera away. I always like to say, when you're telling these love stories, think about it as a director and a movie camera, and a director decides what's in that rectangle. There's all kinds of stuff happening right outside of frame, the crew and the mics, but within that rectangle, there is full control. Think of that same way when you're telling the love story. So when you say, I remember, to me, that's like a boom mic coming in the frame, or you see that it's just a mock set in the back. A crew member walks by, right? Keep us in the fantasy of this is playing out in our minds right now. So instead of, I remember when Sam came home that night, she was disappointed that Alex arrived not on a motorcycle, but in his car. All you have to do in that sentence is, even if you were there, say, or you remember how she recounts that, whether you were there or whether it's you talking about the story, or sometimes your couple will say, I remember that night I was so disappointed. So when you're writing it, you kind of parrot that. Oh, she remembers how. Drop she remembers, drop I remember if you're part of that story, and just state it like a fact. You just say, Alex was so bummed out that night when he showed up, not on his motorcycle, but in his car. But the car was really nice, and so she got over it. It's going to land funnier. It's going to keep that director frame on the couple. And especially anytime you don't need to be in the scene as the officiant, take yourself out of the scene. I harp on this all the time. It's the couple's day. The less that you can be in the picture, even if it is you, even if, you know, you were there, you're a friend officiating, and you remember when she showed you her photo on the dating app and said, she's really attractive. Oh, I think I want to. And then it makes its way in your story. I remember when she showed me the photo. Just say, she had this photo. She couldn't believe the bombshell she was looking at on this dating app when she saw it. You were there, so you can state it like a fact. Make sure wherever you can, you state the story like facts, like a narrator. This happened. I'm the authority. I'm the authority on this story. I'm telling it like it is. You never need to say, I remember, we remember, she remembers, he remembers. Those words just don't need to be in the story at all. That's your big red flag story word for today. All right, that is the full hour, friends. Lots of happy birthday for Eva. So glad you could be here. A couple of other things I could get to, but I will next week. For those of you who had sound in and out issues, I'm glad it didn't persist, but I do what I can here. I'm not sure. Sometimes I can't help all the tech things. Efficiently will, efficiently. I've got efficiently on the brain. I always do. YouTube will create the transcript and then create the closed captions. It just takes them a few hours or a day to do so. Again, if you want to purchase the course and come inside and be one of these wonderful members, join us for live office hours, etc., that is at unboring.com. We have a pro course, unboringweddingacademy.com/pro. Officiantly is our incredible wedding ceremony script platform. It automates, it manages, it sends the emails with one click. That is at officiant.ly. Check that out. All these things will be in the video description for you to click and explore. I love serving the officiant community. You are the lights of my life, the winds beneath my wings. I love what I do. I love sharing this with you. And I will be here once again next week. Thanks for joining me today. I'll see you live next week, same time, same place, same channel. And until then, friends, I really appreciate you being here. Marry on. Have a great week.